that needs to happen, along with the match that should not happen, John Cena versus The Rock 3 at WrestleMania 30. Now, if those two matches together were on the WrestleMania card, they would probably be more effective. But if we just had John Cena, Rock 3, and not Brock Lesnar and Dave Batista, WrestleMania 30 would pretty much be a blowout. But if we have Batista versus Lesnar, and that match is your main event, either for the WWE Championship or not, regardless if it's for a championship or not, it will make WrestleMania 30 perhaps the biggest WrestleMania of all time. There are a lot of other matches that would make WrestleMania the biggest of all time, not taking anything away from those matches, but I just think Dave Batista versus Brock Lesnar is a match that needs to happen. And if Lesnar were to come in and win the WWE Championship a few weeks after Dave Batista wins his second Royal Rumble match, joining a list of very few superstars like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena, some of the names who have previously won 2 Royal Rumble matches in their career, I believe there's a total of 4 of those individuals. If Dave Batista were to win the championship and then Brock Lesnar were to win the title a couple of days after Dave Batista wins the Royal Rumble, that would be a perfect WrestleMania main event. There are so many ways that WWE can go with Dave Batista's return. The promo packages seem awesome. I threw up this promo package on our Facebook at facebook.com/HW Entertainment, and I tweeted it out. The promo package looks awesome. One of the most effective Dave Batista promo packages they have ever used, and they are actually giving this time to hype up. I wish they would have started promoting it sooner than what they were promoting it. They teased it with a lot of fair confrontations between Dave Batista and a lot of huge names and new talent superstars, like the Dave Batista Rock confrontation, which generated a lot of conversation on YouTube. I saw the Dave Batista Rock confrontation, which was off air on WWE television. There were no words between these two on YouTube. There were 2 different versions released of this, a longer version than the version that was first uploaded, which was about 30 to 45 seconds. But the lengthier version of this video here is no words exchanged between the two, just a face-to-face meeting, kind of like how Triple H and The Undertaker had several face-to-face meetings with no words or promos exchanged a couple of days after we got the announcements of them actually having matches at WrestleMania. And I think that that was just basically to tease this match for happening at some point. Now, in order for The Rock and Dave Batista to happen, The Rock would have to return at some point. Now, I'm not saying The Rock isn't going to, but with the amount of time they have left now to promote something for WrestleMania 30, the chances of Rock and Batista pretty much has no chance of happening right now. There's still time to get a Rock appearance in there, but they would have minimal time to promote for that match, and that match is really too big to have minimal promotion. Right now, as it looks, the Dave Batista-Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania 30 has a greater chance of happening than the Rock and Batista match has of happening, because The Rock did miss Raws as WWE Champion going into a match he was going to lose against John Cena at WrestleMania 29. The outcome of John Cena Rock at WrestleMania 29 couldn't have been more obvious. We knew John Cena was going to win heading into the match. That was pretty predictable. But right now, out of those 2 possible matches for Dave Batista, the match between Batista and Lesnar has a better chance of happening. So that's something that we can kind of look forward to, kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen for WrestleMania 30. That's kind of what I see in the forecast for this year's WrestleMania. Thrown in there also, we're probably going to get a WWE Championship match where probably Daniel Bryan will defy the odds. You know, my original prediction for the Royal Rumbles were Dave Batista, CM Punk, and Daniel Bryan. Those were my original predictions for the Royal Rumble, but that was before I had any acknowledgement of Dave Batista returning. So I'm going to make a third prediction for the Royal Rumble. This is the one match of the year that you can kind of get away with making more than one prediction for, because it's really hard to determine out of 30 superstars, sometimes more than that, who's going to win the Royal Rumble. So you can kind of get away with more than one prediction. Adding on to my previous predictions of Punk and Bryan, my initial prediction was CM Punk. My second prediction was Daniel Bryan, and I've been putting them over as my top picks to win the Royal Rumble. I actually chose Daniel Bryan over CM Punk to win this year's Royal Rumble. That was without any acknowledgement of Dave Batista returning. I know it had been teased on the internet, but I'm going to go ahead and make a third prediction. Dave Batista will win the 2014 Royal Rumble, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to exclude people like Kane. I'm not going to exclude people like Jack Swagger or Antonio Cesaro, because a new talent, superstar, does always have a chance of winning the Royal Rumble. Nobody ever thought Alberto Del Rio was going to win the Royal Rumble in 2011. Now, he did lose in what turned out to be Edge's final match of his career, because the circumstances played out that way, because they knew now that Edge was going to be retiring after that match with Alberto Del Rio. So the circumstances played out that way, but nobody ever thought Alberto Del Rio was going to win the Royal Rumble, but he did. And a lot of people never thought some previous Royal Rumble winners would have won the Royal Rumble. Nobody thought Sheamus had a chance of winning in 2012, 2 years ago. So there was always the chance that a new talented superstar will come up with an upset and go to WrestleMania to face the undisputed champion. The good thing about this year's WrestleMania is there's one champion to face, a combination of both the WWE and World title. They're now calling it the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, so we don't have to go through that bullshit as we had to go through every year of how they choose which champion they're going to face. Now we know that there's going to be a definite champion for them to face, so we're kind of going to get away from a choice having to be made by the Royal Rumble winner. So whoever the champion is will have to face one of three predictions that I've made: CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, or Dave Batista. That will be a really interesting match. Let's take someone out of the equation. Let's take, say, for example, Randy Orton out of the equation, and let's have John Cena, Daniel Bryan, and Dave Batista in a three-way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. That would be very interesting to have at WrestleMania. If we didn't get Brock Lesnar versus Dave Batista and they put it out to a later date, let's have a championship match between three top names in the WWE. Let's have Dave Batista put over Daniel Bryan in an incredible three-way with John Cena thrown into the mix. I think it would be great. Again, there are so many ways that the Dave Batista return can kind of go here, and I'm really excited to see how WWE are going to play it out. This is the first Dave Batista return video blog that I've done for our YouTube channel without teasing a Dave Batista return, because that's pretty much what I've done in previous video blogs that I've kind of talked about Dave Batista, and I pretty much only teased the return of Dave Batista without any confirmation. But I can confirm for you now that we can confirm Dave Batista will be returning to the WWE. The date for it is January 20th. If you have not seen the promo, you can check it out on our Facebook at facebook.com/HW Entertainment. Submit your feedback. You can send us a tweet at Jonathan Clarke1, and you can catch all the action by watching us on YouTube. You can watch and subscribe to Jonathan Clarke22 and get in on the conversation on our forum. It's one of the top topics up for discussion: the return of Dave Batista for the second half of his career, happening on January 20th, 2014. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the culmination of a road for Dave Batista to go back to the top of the WWE. It's funny, just the other day I saw a lot of MMA videos of Dave Batista's matches in the UFC and the couple of years that he spent in the UFC/MMA. It was so fun seeing Dave Batista, dominate there after seeing him dominate in the WWE, and I threw up a lot of Dave Batista videos over the weekend, kind of to celebrate his return, because I never thought we would see the day, to be honest with you, that Dave Batista will return, because he had a lot of success outside of it in the UFC/MMA, like a lot of people have had. Brock Lesnar had a lot of success for football and the MMA world/UFC after leaving the WWE. Some people leave the WWE behind them. They choose to forget The Rock. Was one of them who did that, saying on his Facebook page a couple of years ago he wanted nothing to do with professional wrestling, and in my opinion that made him a hypocrite, because a couple of years after saying that, he was back in the WWE. He comes back, they give him the championship, they take it to Hollywood. It pissed off a lot of wrestling fans. He proved it to be a hypocrite, in my opinion, but at least now Dave Batista is coming back after achieving and establishing his name as a dominant force in professional wrestling, and I have every reason to believe that the second half of Dave Batista's career is going to be just as impressive as the first half of his career, from his earlier years of his career when he was just an upstart talent dominating mid-card names. He goes from being Deacon Batista, a servant, to Reverend Devon in 2002. He goes from the Deacon all the way to the Animal Unleashed. By the way, Animal Unleashed is a great DVD documentation of Dave Batista's career, the earlier years of his career. It'll kind of get you amped up for the return of Dave Batista. And for fans who have never seen Dave Batista in a live match, for fans of the newer generation of professional wrestling, of this new talent initiative that they have, watch some Dave Batista matches on YouTube. I threw up a couple of them in our videos on our imagery form for you to check out, and I also threw some up on our Facebook and Twitter for you. If you have never seen Dave Batista in action, it is amazing. I had the opportunity to see him both on television and at live house shows. It is amazing. The cameras do him no justice. Huge Dave Batista fan, never really was from the first half of his career. After they leave, it's funny about me, one thing that's really funny is the fact that after they leave professional wrestling, I become a bigger fan of them than I was in the earlier years of their career. There was one time in my life that I couldn't stand the sign of The Rock, because he was really overrated. But after he leaves and comes back, bigger Rock fan than I've ever been. And after Dave Batista leaves and comes back, bigger Dave Batista fan than I've ever been. And I'm going to go on record for saying that Dave Batista is going to be the guy. He's going to be that guy, ladies and gentlemen, who will save professional wrestling from going under. Dave Batista will be the messiah of professional wrestling, a messiah that wrestling fans have waited for years. And I want to go on record over this microphone for saying that Dave Batista will be the messiah of professional wrestling. He's going to save us all. Throw us up your comments on our Facebook page at facebook.com/HEW Entertainment, on our Twitter at JonathanClarke1, and on our YouTube channel. You can catch all the action. Watch and subscribe to Jonathan Clarke 22, and leave me your feedback on some of the topics we've thrown up for discussion. And you can get in all the conversation by signing up for our forum. It takes about 90 seconds to sign up for the official forums of HEW Entertainment. Once you do so, you can get in on all the conversation happening on our website and heard on this radio program. We've got a lot of topics to discuss over the next couple of weeks. Next week, here on our show, we'll talk about the upcoming performance on the ET Canada New Year's Eve Ball of Demi Lovato. She's your headliner for the ET Canada New Year's Eve Ball. I'll have Demi Lovato for you when we come back from the commercial break. Give Your Heart a Break, a song that was released back in 2011-2012. Big hit for her. She'll be the headliner of the ET Canada New Year's Ball. I'll have her for you when we come back. The return of Dave Batista happens on January 20th, 6 days prior to the 2014 Royal Rumble. Will he win it and go all the way to WrestleMania? That remains to be seen. January 20th is when it all happens on Monday Night Raw. It'll be an unforgettable night, especially for those Dave Batista fans out there who I know are really excited. You can cut the anticipation with a knife. Demi Lovato is next.
When something takes place in the world of professional wrestling, you know where to go. WrestleZone.com. WrestleZone.com. Covering all the latest breaking news daily. Interactive forums where you can chat with thousands of other wrestling fans. Exclusive editorials and audio features by some of today's top wrestling superstars. Exclusive video content, weekly polls, live play-by-play coverage of every WWE and TNA pay-per-view. And now, featuring WrestleZone Radio, live with news, in-depth discussions, debates, and interviews with wrestling's top stars, past and present. When you think wrestling, think WrestleZone. WrestleZone.com.
He considers himself God's gift to wrestling, and millions of his faithful agree. With nearly 4 hours of footage and exclusive commentary and matches, this DVD chronicles Daniel's rise from Chicago's Windy City Wrestling to the Asylum in Nashville, and finally to the top of